Hello, friends and neighbors. This is old Pastor Bill coming to you again. I was thinking of something, type of story I might want to tell you today. Maybe you get some kind of meaning out of it. Hope you're doing good today. Anyway, I was thinking about my childhood a little bit and thinking about, you know, as a child growing up, I didn't have all that much. Mom and dad did the best they could by me. But anyway, it wasn't like the kids nowadays got all those games they play on TV, sit there and twiddle their thumbs looking at the TV, and some of them, have the old, even though phones, they got games on them. You see them in restaurants and what have you, here in the mall or wherever. They walk around with their head down with those games on their phone and stuff. But as I was coming up, we uh, better times. I was going to say better times back then, but in a way it was because you could let your kid out in the yard and play until sun started going down or what have you. Wasn't all this meanness and stuff going on nowadays. But we had to use our imagination a lot of times playing in there outside and sometimes, like me, didn't have all that much. We would have to make our own toys sometime or what have you. Well, I can remember my dad making me an old slingshot. And it wasn't like them store-bought slingshots. He got an old branch, found an old branch that looked like a Y, shaped like a Y. He took an old inner tube and cut it up and made the rubber things to go around on the slingshot. I remember you put that there, you tie them things on there, and I remember you put a rock on them in there, just pick up an old rock, put in there, and you'd pull that slingshot back and let her fly, and aim it the best you could, and, hit a can or something that was sitting on the post, fence post or what have you. And, that was about the fun we had back then, or at least I did. I remember my cousins, though. I remember them. I loved them more. Jimmy and David had some good times together. They always like in the summertime, we go over there and spend some time, stay over there at their house, and on the weekends, sometime I'd stay, on the weekend, spend the weekend over there, and they had an old clubhouse, and uh, uh, their daddy built it for his sisters or their sisters, and they outgrew it, so the boys took it over and made like a bunkhouse out of it. And I remember spending a weekend, nights camping out in that old thing, and a nice building. But they always had those new stuff. They had pretty good stuff, yeah. They had goat cars and mini bikes and BB guns, and I had my old slingshot. But I remember going up in the pasture one day. There was an old pasture up the hill. They had a big hill behind the house, and back up in there, they guys, I don't even know who it was, had some cows up in there. And we went up there, and he had an old lean-to barn or something up there, I think it was. And we went up there and messing around in the field and the pasture, and we managed to chasing cows, which I was mean doing that. That was wrong doing that, but we was kids and we got into doing that. So anyway, we got one of them old calves or cows pinned up in that one barn there. That lean-to like thing. It had like three walls on it, the best I can recollect. And we were shooting it with our BB guns and shooting with BB guns and had the old slingshot, which they had a slingshot and I was using theirs. Theirs was one of them uptown slingshots, like you get at Walmart or something, or them sporty goods stores, had the metal thing on it, run around your arm, and nice things. Wasn't like mine that my daddy made me. Anyway, we were shooting and I popped that old cow with that slingshot and put old marble in there. And I pulled back and I let it go. When I hit that old cow, and that cow commenced to kicking and then jumping and carrying on such, when all of a sudden it done kicked the side of that barn out and jumped through there. I was right mean of us, I know. And we didn't get caught for it, but I think about it nowadays, we should have had our little hind ends tore up for doing such a thing like that. But anyway, what I'm trying to, I guess, say is that I remember the slingshot. For a slingshot to be effective, you have to put that stone in there. You have to pull it back. When you pull that slingshot back with that little rock in there and you turn it loose, and all of a sudden it goes forward like that. Well, that got me thinking. Sometimes the Lord has to take a hold of us. Sometimes the Lord has to pull us back a little bit. We often wonder why we're sitting there and we're not going forward for the Lord, and we're not having making any progress for the Lord, or things just ain't going right for us, so to speak. But it makes me think again of that old slingshot. So, like I say, sometimes the Lord has to get a hold of us and pull us back to let us go where we can go forward. We get settled in our old ways. We sit out in our old ways, and we're not going forward for the Lord. So sometimes, all the times that things happen to us and it pulls us back, that may be the Lord there pulling us back to let us go, to sling us forward, just like that old slingshot. So if we not pulled back by the Lord, we can't make any progress. We can't go forward for Him. We can't accomplish anything. We'll just be sitting there like an old rock or something laying in the driveway. So take heed, my friend. Don't get so discouraged sometimes whenever things don't go your way. Don't get so discouraged whenever it seems like you take 2 steps forward and you go back, or take 1 step forward rather and slide back 2 steps. Sometimes it's the Lord using us like that old slingshot. He pulls us back to let us go where we can go forward for Him. Well, I hope you can sort of understand what I'm trying to say there. Let the Lord pull us back sometimes where we can go forward for Him, or we would just sit there and wouldn't be no use to Him at all. And we'll learn the lessons, by us pulling back. Well, I guess that's about all I got to say about that. Hope y'all take a liking to some of these stories I put on here, and my childhood, and about different stories. I've got a YouTube channel. It's Old Pastor Bill. That's OLD, Pastor Bill, on YouTube. And I think all the stories and stuff I've talked about is on in a collection there, and you can look down and pick what you'd want to see there. But anyway, I hope you'd like this, and I hope you'd share it. And I hope you go to the YouTube channel. It's old Pastor Bill trying to spread some old knowledge to you, I guess. In a way, sometimes they say, well, why you like that? I said, well, sometimes all them $2 words ain't worth saying, how you get down to the meaning of just plain, simple English. Anyway, that's it about that. But I hope y'all have a good day. And this is old Pastor Bill saying, look up and kiss the sunny sides of life, my friend.